Good evening, everyone. This is A.L. Johnson, Vice President of the Kansas City Business Association. The KCBA is a nationwide network of Black-owned businesses where our goal is to increase exposure, provide education, and facilitate valuable introductions and networking opportunities to move minority businesses forward. In this week's Small Business Highlight, I'd like for you to meet Miss Denisha Jones. She's the owner of Sweet Peaches Cobbler, and her tagline is "Everything here is sweeter." She's definitely on the move. She's a gift small business grant recipient, as well as the recent winner of the Hy-Vee OpportUNITY Pitch Contest. And so, Miss Jones, thanks for joining us today, and we appreciate your willingness to share with our audience. Can you tell us a little bit about Sweet Peaches Cobblers?
Sure. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this. Sweet Peaches Cobbler has been in business since August of 2020. And we started out just simply making a cobbler for my brother in law. And I was on a mission to find some cobbler for myself. And so he just happened to uh, get some of the cobblers that I was sampling to try to get the right recipe to have for my own home. So before I knew it, it was all over Facebook that I had the best cobbler in Kansas City, and I was on a mission to prove it. And so now we're currently in um, 29 locations with a lot more to come.
Congratulations. One thing I know is retail is difficult. How long have you been doing this? When did you start?
We started August of 2020. That's when we actually started in July. This is how quick it happened. I made a cobbler for my brother-in-law in July. I became um, I became licensed in August. By the end of August, that's how quick it happened.
Wow, wow. So
Mhm.
I've been in business for a number of years myself. I speak to business owners all across the country. One thing that I believe is interesting about your situation, within a year and a half, you've received a grant and won a pitch contest, which is very, very rare.
Yeah.
What would you attribute that success to?
Honestly, I think studying the market, knowing the competition and the numbers. I think I posted a couple of months ago. It's good to know your competition, and based on the information that I've read up on and that I've studied, that's how people really succeed is by being in a very competitive market. So knowing your numbers and being competitive is really something you need to put in the forefront of your management and your business, and not competitive in a way where I'm competing with others. In the retail market, it is completely different. You're basically having to research others who are selling a product that is similar to yours and look at their price range. And then you have to also make sure that your price range falls within a certain margin for your consumers.
Hmm. That makes sense. So, do you have any business background that helped prepare you for this, or is this all new information for you and you just started moving forward?
Well, some yes and some no. Retail, definitely not. Not at all. I did take a couple of business classes in my undergrad because I had a nonprofit organization that holds a really true stronghold on my heart. The House of Restoration, where we basically housed adolescent girls at risk and homeless adolescents as well. That's kind of how I became a foster parent, and um, that's kind of how I got started in the business per se. But it was definitely nothing to prepare me for where we are today.
That's amazing. That's something that's close to my heart too. So you said that you help at-risk youth through the foster
Yes.
program. I have a nonprofit. It's called Elevating Men, and we actually had a interview about a year and a half ago with an agency called the Great Circle, and they place foster
Okay.
children. Um,
Amazing.
that's some serious work. One thing that I learned in that interview is what those children go through as far as rejection. So obviously something happened with their parents. And then first they go to people in the family to see if anyone can place them. And so a foster home is really the last resort. And so for you to be a family where these children can land and thrive and grow, I think is an awesome thing. And it's definitely something that we need to get behind. Is that something that's still a part of your business or what?
So it's not. However, I'm just a firm believer that um, God has made this a provision for me to actually live out my vision, which is to be able to house more girls, or to provide a safe haven or a shelter for adolescents, basically bridging the gap between the generation and making sure that parents and adolescents can come together and have civil conversations to where they're not resulting in kicking their children out of the home or the child running away because they feel like they're not being heard, and things like that. And so sometimes they do end up putting themselves in the system, but then they're also forcing them system because of the negligence of the parent. So there's different avenues to get to where my facility landed them. But it is something that my heart desires to go back to. But right now, I am focused on Sweet Peaches 100%. But it is there um, in the end goal to make sure my involvement is in someone's, if not the House of Restoration, someone's nonprofit organization, making sure that my funds can go and help contribute to the help that those girls need.
I think that's extremely important. When it comes to business, you have to have a strong why because it's late nights, it's early mornings, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of investment, a lot of failure. You got to dust yourself off and keep
Yep.
going. And so when you have such a strong why, especially something that affects the community in the way that fostering does, I think that's extremely important. So we definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you for that. Let me ask you this. So when it comes to retail business, I know a lot of people maybe have recipes, from grandma's kitchen and et cetera, that they're like, man, I think I can make some money. I think I may have a business. Tell us, what are the challenges in retail? What have you learned? What things should they look out for? What are some first steps?
Well, I'm thankful to say that the first store that we tried to get into, or that we did get into, was Sun Fresh on Prospect. They gave us our very first shot, and we are thankful for that opportunity because we learned as we were going from that store. It kind of was like our pilot, and so the mistakes that we made were very early on, and it was something misspelled on our labeling, the nutritional facts. It was hard to read. We had to make sure that we were not only following the guidelines for the retail market on the nutritional label side, but we also wanted to make sure that our packaging was right and we serve what we say we serve inside of our packaging. We wanted to make sure we were consistent and deliver what we advertise and market that we sell. So that was one of the mistakes that we made early on, was in our labeling. And I would tell everybody that is your beginning phase. If you have a product, you want to make sure that your nutritional labels are intact. You want to make sure that you have the correct measurements, the correct quantity, all the way down to the numbers. You want to make sure that everything is in sync with one another, even your serving size, your portion size, even when you change suppliers, if your product changes, you have to go back and redo your labels because if the product has a different ingredient in it, then you have to go back and change your labels. So that is the most important part of it, is making sure you have your label and your nutritional facts in order.
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
One of the things that we like to do here is really provide value for our listeners. Most of the people that listen to this are business owners, and they're looking for tips and strategies and things like that. What was it like doing the Hy-Vee pitch competition? A lot of people have never done a pitch, in front of a panel of judges and things like that. What was that experience like for you?
Nerve wracking.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
um, it was. I honestly, I didn't eat anything the day before or that day. It really was. Um, sitting in my gut, not so much as just being nervous, but because I wanted to land it perfectly. There was no room for error because there were so many other businesses that was just as deserving as mine was. So I had to make sure that my business stood out. I had to make sure that my presentation stood out. When I tell you that my accountant is like the disciplinarian mother of this relationship, she is, but she's also my best friend because I have to call her for every little thing, anything. And so I studied my numbers back and forth. I listened to my advisors, making sure I didn't give too much information or gave the appropriate amount of information in my pitches. And I did take presentation classes in college. I took a couple of those. So it did help and contribute. But those numbers, you got to know them. You got to know them. They're important. That's really what they want to know. They want to see your excitement about your business, if it can grow, if it's really a scalable business, and they want to see if you really know your product and if your product can um, prove that it's worth investing in.
That makes sense. So when you initially started, being that it's a food business, were you able to start at home or commercial kitchen? What was that transition like?
So the very first thing we did was thought we could cook at home if we were just going to vendors or going to pop-up shops. We thought we could just cook this stuff at home. So I filled out my very first application for 18th and Vine event. And when they told me I had to get a permit from the health department from Kansas City was like, oh no, you need to be cooking out of a commercial kitchen. And so that's when we sought out a commercial kitchen and we landed at the Innovation Center in Independence, Missouri, and we've been there ever since. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So I know you've got a special coming up, so I definitely want to make sure that we highlight that. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I know you got a special going on there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so last year we got bombarded with Thanksgiving orders, and I normally open them up on October the 1st, but I didn't do so. Once you sent out a message to me, I wanted to wait and provide an exclusive deal for the listeners, our viewers, that if they use the KCBA code tonight up until tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., they will get $10 off their order for Thanksgiving.
Thank you, thank you. We definitely
And they can
appreciate
go to
that.
sweetpeachescobblers.com to the contact to put their order in, and it'll get completed that way.
There we go. Rhonda Hall, thanks for tuning in. She said, "Yes, where the specials at?" And so, just to repeat that, go to sweetpeachescobblers.com, put KCBA in the coupon code, and they will hook you up $10 off. We definitely appreciate that. Here's one thing that I always ask on our small business highlight. There are a lot of challenges in business, especially for Black businesses. One being undercapitalization, access to resources, mentors, etc. And so, let's just imagine for a second that a genie's lamp fell out of the sky right into your hands. You were able to rub it, and you got three wishes for the Black business community. What would those three wishes be?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Huh. Um, the first thing I would wish is that the race would be even, that we were in an even playing field. That would be my first wish. Um, my second wish would be teaching generational wealth early on in life in the African American community so that we could later on get approved for those loans and the capital and the business loans and walk into a bank with a plan and be able to have a more stable financial literacy to present to the bank. So that those would be two wishes. And that's not only for Sweet Peaches because I want to bring everybody else with me if I can. And then the third wish, it's difficult.
It's so many things, right?
It's so many things, but honestly, I believe that there's a need for more representation, and it just, I was in the representation matters segment last weekend, but I would wish that there was more black representation in the retail market.
Mm. Okay. And so
Yeah.
from those three wishes, I definitely agree. The business funding being one, making sure that we have our affairs in order, um, teaching our children early, I think is huge because 9 times out of 10, whenever a concept is first introduced to you, there's resistance, right? And a lot of us
Yes.
aren't getting this information until we're right in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we've already damaged our credit or we've made some mistakes. And so it really puts a lot of us in a position where it's difficult to move forward and get the financing that we need to grow our businesses
Yeah.
beyond the mom and pop shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in 29 stores now. Where do you see Sweet Peaches Cobbler in 3 years?
In 3 years, I'm gonna tell you where we're gonna be because I already got this written down in the plan.
There you go.
Sweet Peaches will be a nationwide retailer and wholesaler. We will be known across the country for our peach cobbler. There's going to be families that are sitting at the table talking amongst each other, and if you don't notice, younger kids are, I should say, this the generation before us that's coming up, it's not really cobbler fans, probably because it's like they skipped a generation, and a lot of them don't know, a lot of us in our age don't know how to cook it. Why? Because our grandmothers were the ones cooking it.
Right, right.
And they would dibble this, dibble that, and dibble this. So I would want to help bridge the gap in that, bring families back to the table, not lose sight on one of the things that was really symbol in the African American home. It's very symbolic to soul food cooking, And so I would want to make sure that in 3 years we have that generational gap also closed, making sure that everybody knows about peach cobbler, and Sweet Peach's name is going to be on that.
And so, listen, you're one of Kansas City's own, so we definitely want to get behind you and support you. What things can we at the KCBA as well as the listeners do to help support you in that mission?
Well, first of all, I'll go get you a Sweet Peaches cobbler.
There you go.
We're at Price Choppers, some Freshes. You can go to sweetpeachescobblers.com. And also, we're going into Hy-Vees, and some of the Hy-Vees will be posted. We're already in one Hy-Vee, but there's more to come. So definitely go and do that. But the main way you can support is by praying for us, making sure, if you believe in God and Jesus Christ, prayer goes a long way. And I need prayer because we are definitely coming into some areas that I am walking in unfamiliar territory, and I'm constantly educating, learning, researching, having to deal with different type of people that I am not accustomed to. If you can read between those lines,
Right.
corporate America is much different than uh, our everyday people. Me doing direct sales to consumers is the best thing, but it is definitely something major that we are dealing with, calling out to all these different companies, asking if they can make our product, talking to lawyers, accountants, sending non-disclosures out. It's just unfamiliar territory. So prayer definitely, and going to go get you a cobbler and making sure
Get
you
you a
spread the
cobbler.
word about
Make
peach
sure.
cobbler. Yeah,
That's
Sweet
it. That's
Peaches.
it. Got
Yeah.
a comment here from Kareem Jackson. He says, "Hell no, global sis." And so when you said national, he said no, global. And he's in Asia
Okay.
right now. He's in the Philippines. He says, "Send me some. I will pitch you here." They love black food, especially sweets. And so it looks like there may be an opportunity there. I'll be sure to connect the two of you. That's a good friend of mine there.
Well, let's
Logan
go.
Brown, he left a comment. Sis, I'm praying for continued success with your business. Keep up the great work. Kareem McGinn, he said,
Thank you,
proud of you,
thank you,
sis. We're here
thank
to help.
you.
KareemAntonio.com. This is so beautiful. I have lawyers in KC too. So it looks like people are ready to pour out some resources to assist. Can you talk a little bit about the faith walk when it comes to business, when it comes to being an entrepreneur?
Now you gonna have me in the no, no, no. It's everything that it's required. Okay, it's a requirement for me because I can't do it without it. Every day, uh, it's a challenge with finances every day, like a everyday family household. I have 4 children, just sent my oldest off to school, and it's a challenge if I'm doing enough for my household. It's a challenge if I should go get another job sometimes. It's because we're constantly going into this circle of if we're making enough to bring in working capital, if I'm able to continuously pay staff because we're waiting on money to come in, but we got so much going out. So it's a challenge. So if I didn't have my faith to rely on, I have no idea where I would be. My hair would be totally gray. I got some gray, but I'm telling you, if it wasn't for my faith, I would have gave up a long time ago. I would have given up a long time ago. And I'm glad that I have people in my circle and surrounding me professionally that are prayer warriors. They also pray with me when I get nervous. They call me, hey sis, do you need a moment? I have friends, my sisters, I have family help support, my husband, my pastors. It wouldn't be a Sweet Peaches if I didn't have the faith and the discipleship around me that's in my circle.
So important. So important.
Yeah,
Um,
very.
Melvin Brownie said, awesome. I'd love to make her a vendor with the Kansas City Public Schools if she is interested. Um,
I'm definitely interested. Kansas City Public Schools has a special place in my heart. I graduated from Purcell Academy. That's where I was getting the homeless girls from, was the Kansas City School District. I would really just drive around sometimes asking these girls if they had places to go, and they were in the Kansas City School District. So I'm definitely looking forward to working with the Kansas City School District at any means necessary. Again, once I reach a level where I can help give back, that's my mission. That's my heart's desire.
Um, and
Yeah.
you see the outpouring of love here. There are people commenting, saying, "Hey, can we get you in different countries? Can we get you in the school system?" That's what it's all about. We have to
Yeah.
support each other in the
Yeah.
small business community, and we have to lift each other up. We have to show as much support as we can because we absolutely need it. And you are walking by faith as an entrepreneur. I know everything that you're
Have to.
talking about when it comes to cash flow and do I need to go back and get a job temporarily? And then you say, well, if I get a job now, am I going to have time to run my business? There's just so many considerations. And so I want to commend you for moving forward boldly in what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
And I did see you, not counting your pockets and not telling anybody else to, but I did see the check up there for
Yes,
$30,000. That's
yes,
like your
yes.
annual salary right there. So what did it feel like when they handed your family that check at the Hy-Vee OpportUNITY contest?
When they announced it, I heard sweet. And then before I knew it, I was already in worship mode. My head was down, and I was thanking God before I could even stand up. And then my husband kind of rubbed my shoulder to bring me back to reality. And I stood up, and I was still in amazement and at awe of God because, again, there were so many other deserving businesses. Um, and it was an amazing, amazing experience, and I don't even remember what the lady said to me. She asked me a question about what did it feel like maybe when I won, and my response was, "What is for me, what God has for me, it is for me," and I really truly believe that. So I want to give a special thanks to again my circle at the Gift, my business coach, Karis, my accountant, the Brandon and Cornell and Rhonda and their team. They are amazing. And I also won a $25,000 gift with them. That's what helped me start into the retail side. That's how I was able to stock the first set of stores. So I'm continuously gonna keep on pitching, and we're gonna get this money to where we got a co-packer on our team, and we're gonna be we're gonna be global, like my friend said here. So yeah, so
And
it was amazing.
anything that we can to support that. Joseph Thomas, thanks for tuning in. He said your husband got all your gray hair, so
He
that's
definitely
what.
does. My husband, he's sitting right here. Well, they said you got all my gray hair. No, I have a lot too. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just colored, but, but he
uh,
definitely does have all my gray hair.
he said her family are my role models. Beautiful, beautiful. I have not met everyone in the family, but I can just tell from your spirit and your energy. I believe that to be true. Tammy Carolyn, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. She said, where can we purchase? And so I want to make sure that I put that up on the screen again. It's sweetpeachescobblers.com. You want to visit that website. And if you take action today with the coupon code KCBA for the Kansas City Business Association, you'll get $10 off of your order. And
For
when
Thanksgiving,
you got
yeah.
100, so how where are we at? I think this is going to go quick. You said you got 100 spots for Thanksgiving. Is that right?
100 spots for Thanksgiving, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So
Each
definitely,
year I add 25 more. Yeah.
got you, got you. So you guys definitely want to get on that ASAP. I'm going to make my order as well. We've got Round the Hall. Your determination is everything. We see your spirit. Absolutely, absolutely. I've enjoyed this conversation for sure. Like I promised you, I won't hold you up forever. But it's like everybody wants to talk to Miss Jones. She said we need a button on blackkansascitymag.com. And so I'll be sure to connect you with the people that are making these comments that want to be able to help out. Is there
Absolutely.
anything else that we need to know about Sweet Peaches Cobbler?
We're on the move. We have several different flavors, and I've included my children in this for a reason. I also have now been selected to be on the board for the um, Herndon Business Association. So that is another blessing in disguise for me. So I will be on
Congratulations.
the advisory board for them. Thank you. Helping their teams to, start their businesses and enter into entrepreneurship, those who are interested. Um, so I would say if there is any way that you could support Sweet Peaches,
Um, okay, I think she's having a little connection issue. Of course, as this is live, that's bound to happen. But make sure that you visit sweetpeachescobblers.com. Again, the KCBA coupon code will get you $10 off of your order. And she's doing 100 orders for Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner. So you want to make sure you check that out. Definitely get with her and stay tuned to the Kansas City Business Association. We have a lot of great things coming up for the Black business community. We're going to be helping with marketing. We're going to be making great connections. We have speakers that are going to be lined up. And so visit kansascitybusinessassociation.com, get registered so that you can receive our newsletter and keep abreast of all of the things that we have going on here. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure that you share this with your network. That's one of the great ways that you can support Denisha. And we will see you again in our next segment. Have a good evening.